When you hear the words good graphics, what image pops into your head? Maybe it's a high triangle count or microscopic levels of rendered detail, or maybe it's a moment. A streak of light through a window, or a place that felt hot or cold through your TV screen. A moment when you felt immersed. But why does immersion really matter? When we say good graphics, what are we really saying? Because it goes beyond realism, it goes beyond ray tracing or high fidelity textures. Good graphics do matter, but not just entirely because of how they look. This is leaked campaign gameplay of the upcoming Battlefield 6. Just kidding, this is gameplay of Battlefield 3 from 14 years ago. This was from the campaign trailer of upcoming Battlefield 6, a trailer that was, for me, like many out there, a little bit of a final breath of fresh air for those of us who have been yearning for Battlefield's return to the modern military setting for many years now. And yet my initial reaction was, yeah, the key bits are there. We've got grounded designs, recognizable settings, helicopters, tanks, and jets, and yet nothing really popped, nothing really wowed me. These visuals, graphically on par with industry competitors, but there was something missing, something that had nothing to do with rendering tech or texture resolution. The phrase I kept hearing others repeat was, it looked very Call of Duty. When people hear good graphics these days, they think pixel-perfect photorealism. They think of games that look shinier, run worse with infinitely ballooning file sizes, an era of gate-kept visuals, high fidelity, low FPS. But what do good graphics really mean? And no, the answer isn't just to go look outside, but for good measure, I did do that recently when I took a little trip to the north, touching grass as you do, and I've always had a very tough time sleeping, especially when it comes to light, and where I was, the sun literally did not go down, which is why Manta Sleep's mask was exactly the thing that I needed to actually get to sleep. And if you're someone like me, even in the normal world with normal actual night, many of us are not getting as well rested as we should be. Manta Sleep's masks block out all light completely, using these very plush cups so that no pressure is put on your eyes like a normal sleeping mask would. They're completely adjustable. The one that I have is great for side sleepers like me, but they even offer a cooling mask, a weighted one, or even ones with integrated Bluetooth headphones. Whatever version is best for you, getting real restorative rest from your night's sleep or even a short nap can make all of the difference. So click on that link in the description or pinned comment and use the code RILO for 10% off. Thank you again to Manta Sleep for supporting the channel today. Good graphics mean different things to different people. A bit like a taste in art, there is some subjectivity. But then there's always those standouts where gameplay and visuals align, ones where we all seem to agree. Because I don't know about you, when I hear those words, there's a game that immediately comes to mind. The same company currently working on Battlefield 6 in the early 2000s had a goal for a different kind of game, a world seen through the eyes of a runner, someone to whom rooftops and access corridors were pathways. Originally set in 3 unique cities, Rio de Janeiro, Tokyo, and NYC, later combined into one, Mirror's Edge in its earliest forms was gritty and lived in. But in order to translate this hidden world of clandestine conduits that you or I, or especially law enforcement, couldn't quite see, a new perspective, a new point of view needed to be taken. We see a city, the runner sees freedom. The idea of the runner's eyesight singling out certain elements took the lead for a new ultra-minimalist color treatment. Shapes were simplified almost down to primitives. The spectrum of color was split into ranges between dull and vivid. Anything that was dull became white. Anything vivid was now stark red, blue, yellow, or green. Vegetation became matte and monochromatic. Natural variations in color were flattened or blown out. And it was all in service of gameplay. The runner's eyes naturally identified danger and safety, a pathway out or a dead end, and Mirror's Edge's art style gave us, the player, this power, replacing waypoints or a heads-up display with simple art direction. And in a final touch, the lighting curves could be adjusted real-time in-engine to really bring the look that we all recognize from Mirror's Edge to life, a look that, in its best moments, really does stand the test of time. Mirror's Edge's style is instantly recognizable, and despite having a grounded real-life setting, I don't think anyone would call it realistic. But 3 years later, DICE used similar techniques with Battlefield 3's minimalist design. Flatten the color scheme, crush the blacks, and then raise teal tones in the shadows. Eliminate certain colors and heighten others, and while BF3 relied on photograph textures and a drastically more complex asset library, its style thrives when lighting, texture, color scheme, and map design play off of each other, similarly to Mirror's Edge, once you start looking too close. In those moments when the game relies too heavily on its engine and not enough on the bespoke touch of its artists, the evidence of that artifice rears its head. But when we see footage of these games, they're incredibly immersive. Because, like Impressionism or film photography, when artists understand and play to the medium's strengths, when they understand how human perception blurs light and shadow, color and lack thereof, the work becomes so much more than cutting edge, it becomes timeless. They're successful not because of how close they are to reality, rather, they're successful because of which parts of reality they leave out. Because realism, no one actually wants or cares about that, and to be honest, I don't think that they care about technological innovation either, at least, beyond a fun tech demo. For years, I've struggled to understand this phenomenon, where later games in a franchise literally look worse than prior entries. Because even when a sequel looks more graphically intense or complex, shinier or more realistic, oftentimes that doesn't mean that it looks better, and, oftentimes it runs worse too. This is, of course, the source of the anti-graphics argument. What should matter is crisp controls, a full feature set, optimized performance, and well-designed gameplay. But in tandem with all of these things, visuals do matter so much. Because a game's graphics, they're the first thing that you see. DICE's Battlefield has been the underdog for years now, and it's clear that with Battlefield 6, publisher EA's target is industry titan and eternal competitor Call of Duty. With Battlefield 6's basically confirmed Battle Royale mode, a page out of COD's book, Warzone being the latter franchise's cash cow for years. But Modern Warfare 2019, the game that BR was originally attached to, launched on its own without Warzone, and that game was a smash hit. For months, players were in awe of its attention to detail, its crisp, filmic visuals and stark, intensely grounded tone were an immense step in a new direction for the franchise as a whole, a new, groundbreakingly modern take on FPS, in direct opposition not only to prior games in its own series, but to Battlefield at the time. Battlefield still struggling to find a modern foothold in the 20th century settings it was born of. People made short films out of Modern Warfare 2019's campaign missions. People showcased the game's gorgeous visuals and animations online. And when Warzone did release, it was the community-driven, running, driving, flying, intense and serious, yet over-the-top and goofy niche that Battlefield had at one point filled. Warzone kept people around for many years. But graphics are the first thing that you see. And it was the core game's look, its art style and visual execution that got them in the door in the first place. What do fans want? It's not that they don't want games to have good graphics. It's that they fear what they perceive good graphics come with. In response to my lukewarm feelings about BF6's visuals, many people asked me an age-old question: would you really rather have a game with good graphics or good gameplay? Well, just look at how fans these days are reacting to current era Call of Duty. The gameplay might be there, but the identity, the vibe, every year, people expect for it to take that return to form that Modern Warfare 2019 delivered them. And, well, it's not that games need to look newer, higher fidelity, higher resolution. It's that they need to look like themselves. Great gameplay is fun when you're playing, but a good visual style, one that is iconic, that can't be found elsewhere, it's not just nice to look at. It makes the world that you're playing feel like it means something. And Battlefield has always been about being part of something bigger. A small piece in a conflict at scale, a conflict that has stakes, that feels real, that feels historical. And the point here is not just to be nostalgic. I remember that Battlefield 1 was criticized for its historical inaccuracy, for its lack of customization. I remember Battlefield 4's horrendously broken launch. I remember that Battlefield 3, now the beloved benchmark of the franchise, was, in many people's eyes, a dumbed-down departure for the series when it released. But honestly, I think people have forgotten that BF3 looked like this. Felt like this. People have forgotten that there was a time not long ago when innovation in all sectors was not only expected, it was fulfilled. People have forgotten that publishers used to prioritize bringing new players into a world that was unmistakably new and unique, not just focusing on how to monetize those players once they were already there. Would I rather have good graphics or good gameplay? I really think that gamers not only can have both, but that subconsciously they need to. I think that maybe an audiovisual experience matters a lot more than we think. That an experience based in immersion with sound, engaging gameplay, competitive performance, and specific curated tone, all working together, is as much what Battlefield has always been about as Conquest is. I think that when studios want to, when they have a vision, we can have both. Because, you know what, we used to. Close to every year. And the games cost about $20 less as well. And I say this all as a massive Battlefield fan. I'm sick of this series being the constant underdog. I want to play these games again. And it's not like I don't like what I'm seeing here. I just want to see these guys push the forefront of striking grounded designs in the way they always have and make this world really pop. And why does it matter if they do? Why isn't good gameplay itself enough? Because my fear is that in this crucial moment for Battlefield to regain the niche that people have turned to other games for, they're leaving the art style as a blank slate to monetize this game into the most profitable game ever when it needs to just be the best Battlefield game. Battlefield 6 can't just be good enough. It needs to fulfill a fantasy that people can't find elsewhere. Because I don't want games to look like real life. Real life is messy, it's haphazard, it's complex and inconsistent, and it often isn't much fun, something that games are inherently supposed to be. And games like Battlefield, they've never been about reality. They've been about an impression of it. Because if you know where to look, if you know how to tweak the details, to pull those elements out that your eyes grab onto, you can create a vision that's more than reality. Not through technology, but simply through intention. Every corner of the real world isn't beautiful, but in a video game, it can be. I'm Rilo, and I like to talk about stuff I think is cool. Subscribe for more like this, and I will catch you very soon.